Talking with Words.
Welcome back to Talking with Words. You're here with Rob.
Ray.
And Will.
And I believe Taylor is still shitting downstairs. He might join us later. We'll see. It's been a rough one for him. Tonight we are going to watch 2020's Becky, starring kind of a weird cast because it's Kevin James, Joe McHale, Lulu Wilson. What's the big guy's name?
Robert Mallet.
The Beast.
Let's see. Some other kind of unknown people. Amanda Brugel.
He's the Canadian wrestler, right?
Wrestler, yeah.
He was a Canadian wrestler. Lots of smaller actors who, I don't know what else they've been in.
Lulu, I think, has been in one of the Netflix horror things.
Is she a daughter of one of the Wilsons, or she just has the same last name? Wilson?
Probably just the same last name. I don't know. Got a sweet hat in this picture. This movie is described as, if you are not aware, a teenager's weekend at a lake house with their father takes a turn for the worse when a group of convicts wreaks havoc on their lives. Kevin James playing a white supremacist. Weird. Sally, would you like to the Parents Guide?
Let's see. It is rated R for strong, bloody violence, grisly images, and language.
Well, I almost threw up 3 times, so I would 100% agree with that.
Profanity is moderate. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking is none. Frightening and intense scenes is moderate.
Moderate?
Yeah. I like this note on the frightening and intense scenes. Becky can scare younger audiences, even though the scary stuff is in the violence gore section. Yeah, it would scare younger. I mean, maybe not Meryl, but Charlie would be scared.
Traumatized, at least.
Nothing scares
That child. All right, let's watch this movie. Okay, we watched the movie. Fake pause.
It was real.
The magic of podcasting. Now, you guys have seen this a while back.
Yeah, we watched this a few years ago when it came out. Because it came out, what did we say, 2020?
2020. Did it hold up to your...
Yeah, I didn't really
memories?
know much about it. I was just intrigued by Kevin James playing a more serious role, since he's usually just in goofy Adam Sandler movies.
I thought he was going to be darker than he was. Like, I mean, it
Yeah.
was still pretty dark, throwing around a child and shooting at people, but he didn't go full-on insane villain.
Well, and as we watched the film, it really ended up being about her more than anybody.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. This starts out, I really like the way the director did the transitions in the beginning with the school and the prison
Yeah, kind of the parallel.
going back and forth. I thought those were really cool. And then the reveal as they leave to go, the family, Joel McHale's Jeff and Lulu Wilson's Becky, go to the lake house. You get revealed that A, Kevin James and his crew is breaking out of prison, and B, they're going to the lake house. Becky's mother had died of cancer about a year ago, I think, is what we said.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I think a year is what we...
So they had some issues.
And there was already some turmoil in the relationship between Becky and her father. They were kind of having some spats on the way out there.
I do think this was a better acting from Joel McHale being in a serious role in this one. He's usually...
Yeah, he's usually very goofy.
sometimes unbearably goofy. No offense, Joel, but...
So, I feel like he and Kevin James, swapped roles, because normally Kevin James is, the dummy in all of the movies.
Yeah, he's usually far, far into dumb, what's the grown-ups?
Yeah, like grown-ups and...
Or, what's the one that we just watched? The Adam Sandler, they marry each other.
David and...
Oh, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry?
Chuck and
Yes.
Larry. That's
Oh.
what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God. It's such a good movie, though. The movie about friendship is amazing. Okay, sorry.
This is also a movie about friendship.
Yeah, drastic turn, though, because in this film, Kevin James is a bald, very heavily bearded, tattooed, and all sorts of Nazi paraphernalia on his skull. Intense character, a little different.
It reminded me. I liked it because it looked the beard. I don't know if it was real, but it looked real. The one from Huey Halloween looked so horrible, which was probably on purpose. I mean, it was one of those movies. But anyway, he leads this group with his main guy Apex, played by the gigantic. How big is Robert?
He's got to be 6'7".
Let's see.
Okay, but that's why they call him
6'7",
Apex, right? Because he is like
280 pounds. of
Apex
just pure
Predator?
the
muscle.
big guy.
Yeah, let's see. He's got 4 kids. He's 6'11".
Oh gosh.
Jesus
Bigger.
Christ.
So he's a
Because
big.
Joel McHale is like 6'4",
He's a big
and he
boy.
was just towering over him.
What? Really?
Yeah, Joel McHale's tall.
Oh, I thought he was like super short, like Tom Cruise short.
He's like a foot taller than Tom Cruise.
Oh, okay. Well,
Nobody realizes it, but Tom Cruise is actually a midget. Yeah, McHale's 6'4".
Yeah, he's a big boy. Yeah, so we get out. So they're going to a cabin, right? So we see all these details, which Rob described as kind of like parallel. You're seeing Kevin James's character in prison, and the family's going out to their cabin. Was it before they get there? I don't know if it's before they get there or not, but you see Kevin James and his group of kind of goons are getting transferred to a different prison or something. They're in
They're in a
a
transport.
vehicle going around, and then they break out. So once we get to the cabin, you have the fiance of Joel, or I guess it's unbeknownst to the kids yet that this is the fiance, but her and her son show up,
Played by Amanda Brugel.
which adds to the turmoil of this relationship going on between father and daughter because she's still mad or just hurt really because mom passed away and he's moved on quickly to a new replacement. So they're getting in a fight, and while this fight's going on, she runs away into the woods, and that's where the escaped inmates end up showing up at the house.
Yeah, and we also have in that scene when Becky runs away, she's throwing a fit, doing the teenage girl thing, and she picks up this key with a Volknut on it. It's a Viking symbol, and then when Kevin James breaks in, you see that tattoo on his hand. So you already kind of know something is going on.
no, she didn't like pick it up as she was running. Like it was in her.
It was in her like little fort.
Yeah.
She had like
Cabin.
a little kind of fort area outside in the forest and the property where she used to hang out. Because this is like just a lake house essentially.
Yeah, it was the family lake house. 'Cause she was all pissed that they thought they were going to sell it, and then he's like, no, we're going to keep it. And then, oh, by the way, we're getting married, and yada, yada, yada.
And she was super angry that he brought them there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she's off, angry, isolated. Kevin James's character and the rest. There's 4 total guys that show up that broke out. He's playing innocent, kind of getting inside the house, trying to get a scope of the layout, while the other guys are scoping out the rest of the property.
Yeah, they didn't take long to just be like, all right, listen.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I think what was it? He acknowledges the dog, and then it's a mutt, and then it's not a purebred
Yeah.
Yeah, and
German
so
dog like his.
But
What did he say?
like-
He's a Rottweiler.
that's the ruse that he used to get into the house was I lost my dog, and then he went into that, and the Rottweiler was like I'm assuming that's a German breed. Is it?
I
I like the use of the word ruse. That was perfect.
I don't know if you're being
I'm
sarcastic
not making
or
fun of
not
you at
right
all.
now.
I enjoyed that word. And they pretty much pull the costume identities off, and like
reveal
everybody
very
go
quickly
sit
they're-
down.
They're there for a purpose.
And at this point, Apex has. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're going with it.
Okay.
Go.
So when they get out of the transport, Apex is ordered to kill 2 kids, and it apparently messed him up because when he is ordered to go check the house, he finds the fiance and her young child, and he pretty much says, "Go out the side door, get out of here.
Run while you have a
No one
chance."
knows you're here." And they run out, but they get grabbed by the 2 other guys that are combing the woods, I guess, around the cabin.
Let's talk about Dora.
Dora the Explorer.
But super smart on like the fiance's part, because she was like, they said,
They have 2 dogs, and they're named Diego and Dora. No, continue. You need to preface that.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, so some jackass, one of them, the skinny, tall, ugly one, kills the dog.
And that is they're running, and I think it's the kid who's like, we got to find Becky, and the guy's like, oh, who's Becky? And then when the dog runs, to your point,
she says that was Becky.
fiance is like, oh, there's Becky. Shut up, they don't need to know that she's out here somewhere. And then we have the dog death, which Sally was done with the movie at that point, I think.
I hate that.
I hate it when they do that. The dogs don't really die. You don't know that? Yes, we do. The dogs do not really die in real life. That's illegal.
Yeah. So what? So they bring the mom and the kid back in, since they were trying to run away, and that's where Kevin James's character presents the question, "Hey, I'm looking for a key."
Yep,
because apparently he had stored something in this house long before in prison. We don't know what the key was for. We just know that it was on the property. We have already seen that Becky has it in her little kind of fort area, but nobody else really has any idea what this is or even exists, really. So this is where he starts to get more serious and questioning, because apparently this means a lot to him, and he's not going to be messing around.
That's the whole point of them breaking out, is to get this key.
Just to get this key.
Whatever. It's like the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. We never really know. It's a MacGuffin. You don't know what it is, but it's one of the storyline arcs that is not pure plot. And then we start the Die Hard part of the movie, where Becky sees the dog get shot and then sneaks back into the house and grabs the walkie-talkie.
Yep.
And, hey, assholes, I'm calling the cops and all that fun stuff.
Starts egging on the bad guys.
Wait, what's the ruler
So
joke
that's
that
coming
you
up.
made?
Oh, we'll get that in a minute.
Okay.
I wrote it down just in case I forgot.
Sorry, it was so good.
Well, so Kevin James went into the basement storage area where he had hidden this key, I guess. Found the container that it was supposed to be in, not there. So now he realizes, okay, somebody in this house has to know where it's at. That's when we start doing the questions. And when he comes out of the basement, that's where Becky is trying to get back into the house to get her phone, because her backpack is in a room.
Because there is
But there was a trap door. Yeah, there was a secret door. So
Yeah.
Kevin James's character is coming up. She doesn't have enough time to get her bag, so she grabs a walkie-talkie. And that's where his character realizes, okay, Becky's not a dog. This is a backpack. This is a cell phone. Your daughter's here. So let's cut the shit and tell me where she is.
And things escalate pretty quick from there, because this is where he says, okay, I'm going to see if you're lying to me. And he shoots the fiance in the leg. And then he takes...
Because he has a lie detector.
His lie detector, yeah. And then takes Dad out to the...
through and through, no bone.
Oh, yeah, I liked how he's... No, it's okay. Through and through. I didn't hit the bone. And then he takes him out to the... Takes Jeff, the dad, out to the campfire and has the little standoff on the walkie-talkie with Becky,
Yeah, basically makes his torture visible so she can actually see what's happening. To try to force her to confess or acknowledge if she has the key.
bring the key back.
Which she does. She ends up actually slipping up, saying that she does know it's a key. So at this point, he has no reason not to keep torturing to make sure that he can get it.
I will never look at s'mores the same.
Yeah, he burns him with the marshmallow
Poker.
And she runs back saying, no, I got it. Don't hurt my dad. Mikhail jumps up, fights himself away, tries to run off, and gets shot in the back. And
dead. No more soup talk.
That's the end of the soup. Or maybe he becomes soup.
Ew.
And Dominic, I think was Kevin James's character's name, pretty much runs right into Becky because she's coming back with the key, grabs her. She just watched her dad die in front of her.
Yeah.
And she shoves the key in his eye. And we get a little Eye Poppin' Productions throw in there. And it's hanging out by a little...
Yeah, eye is dangling.
That is the second time in this movie I almost vomited.
That one was good.
Yeah, but that was the best part, because when he goes back in the house, he gets one of his other guys like, hey, I need you to cut it because it's literally dangling. He goes through a drawer and he pulls out a pair of kid scissors that are so dull.
Tries like 3 or 4 times.
It's not even cutting through the actual, just the vein that's holding his eye dangling out. So he just pushes him aside, grabs a knife, lays his face down on the counter, and just cuts his own eye off.
It's pretty awesome.
And then he puts it in his pocket.
No, it went to the sink.
That's the one he threw in the sink.
Sitting in the sink. But it was just like this dangling extension of his...
The cord,
Yeah. dripping blood.
And that's when he sends out his buddy in the orange to go find Becky because he doesn't want to do it now.
Yeah, he's not happy at this point.
And phase 2, Home Alone. Becky goes back to her fort.
Well, so that guy
Right.
that he sends out, right? So he sees her running back through the forest and goes back to her fort, and this is where you have like a really key moment for her to where she's just letting everything soak in. So it's like, okay, there's a painting that she had made with her mom that's in this like kind of hangout spot. So she's having a memory of losing her mom. She's absorbing the fact that her dad just got shot and killed, and then she just basically Kill Bill's goes straight blood red, ready to destroy all these people because of what they've done.
The guy's like, you can give us the key, because she runs in and he can't go in because the dog is in there with her.
Yeah, terrified of dogs, apparently. It's Diego? Is that the one that's still alive? Dora was the one who got shot?
Mm.
Yeah. He's like, you can give me the key and we'll all go away. And she does her little montage. She grabs a ruler and snaps it, and she grabs a bunch of colored pencils and tapes them all together.
It starts fastening together 12-year-old weapons with school supplies.
Goes up to the top of the fort where she can see the guy, and she's like, okay, here you go, and throws
A little coin.
apparently a Canadian quarter is what she said later on.
Canadian quarter, yes.
And he goes looking for it, thinking it's the key. She swings down.
Zip lines down.
No, zip lines and like
Oh, yeah.
takes him out. Genius.
Stabs him with the ruler.
Then just destroys him with the colored pencils and then kicks the ruler through his throat.
And so this is like 12 color pencils in a bundle taped together. So it's like one gigantic shiv out of colored pencils.
It's a weapon.
She's just going to town.
And that's when you rule out that bad guy.
So he fights back, though. But the best part is this is where you start to understand, okay, this movie is going to be brutal because she stabs him in the neck with the ruler, and then she starts stomping on it until it goes all the way through his neck
Yeah.
and almost like pegs him to the ground almost because it goes all the way through.
And this is when
And this is like a 12-year-old child we're watching
And-
here.
when we were watching it during COVID, we were like, oh, Rob,
This is
Rob
the kind
would
of
love
stuff we
this.
should
Rob
talk
needs to watch
about.
this movie. And you were correct.
So that's when you know this chick's for real. She's got nothing left to lose.
You got a fucking squirt gun? No, colored pencils. I'm good.
So let's see. So after that part,
but she
what
did have
do?
a
She
squirt
runs
gun.
down to the dock, I think, after that. So at this point, it literally is like it turns into like a rated R Home Alone to where she's like trying to prep traps. She's like looking for stuff.
Yeah, and she eggs them on. She says the little poem.
Yep, she still got the walkie-talkie, so she's like, did you write it down what she said?
I just wrote down the last 2 lines. It says, when she was good, she was really good, and when she was bad, she was horrid. And you have that kind of beat, like, yeah. And it shows, like, the ruler again when she says it, I think.
Yeah, shows the blood dripping through the neck. So you say his name was Damien? Is that what you...
Dominic was
Dominic?
Kevin James's character.
So at this
yeah.
point, since he's still injured, he's basically sending out, Goon 1, Goon 2. Okay, it's your turn. Go get him. So there's another guy still out there looking for her, and she sets up a trap on the dock. She has a bunch of fishing line and a board with nails in it, and she sets it to where she knows where he's at, so she gets his attention to where he starts following her. And this is a heavier set guy, so he's not running very fast. She already knew this. So she gets the dock to where he trips over the fishing line and lands his gut straight on 2 nails sticking out of a board. And that's the trap. So
I also love
Home
that
Alone,
she
awful.
comes out and she's like, you got to catch me. It's pretty much the, hey, bad guys, I'm going to call the cops.
No, she was like, hey,
She-
shitbird or something.
Yeah, I
Like she
mean,
said-
it was the same. And she's like, you got to catch me to get it, then runs away.
But like whenever she first got the walkie-talkie, she called that guy,
Yeah,
fat guy that can't catch up.
the fat guy, yeah.
Yeah, I call him fat guy. So they fight for a little bit. She smacks him in the head with
like-
another board with nails in it
couple nails in the
multiple times.
face.
Yeah, in the head too.
He breaks her nose. She gets a hit
Yeah,
or two.
He gets a good hit in the face with the board, but then he falls in the water, and of course he doesn't know how to swim.
But you could have just left it at that. He can't swim. He's
He
drowning.
could just drown, but no.
Nah, that's not this kind of movie.
No, there just happens to be a boat, so she jumps in it, starts the engine, and it's probably it's the darkest you see her at this point. Even though we just watched her stomp a ruler through a guy's neck, she has a a look on her face, and she just backs the engine of the boat into it to where it starts just cutting him into pieces.
Shredding him. That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't stop seeing Club Dread.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games until you've seen that happen to someone in real life.
Ugh.
Tell us more. Tell the fans.
It was July 3rd. I was in high school, and there were these drunk-ass people, like, hanging on the bow of the boat, and he would jump off, and then the guy would cut the boat really fast to, like, bump him out of the way, and then he would cut it back, and it didn't work once.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever told us that story.
I have 100. It's why I don't go to the lake on holiday weekends. I have 100% told you that story before.
I just thought it was because of all the poo and pee in the water.
I mean, that too.
It's just a bonus. Did the guy die? Or did he just get like...
No, it cut him in two.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
and this was in front of our dock. It was,
Oh, so you weren't on the boat.
no.
Ugh.
Okay.
So they'd been doing this for a while, and we were yelling at them, and they were like, hey, get out of our...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was when I was in high school, and
Zinger. So
the-
that's basically what happened in this movie.
Yeah, he
there
got
was
it
a
right to
little
the gut.
girl who had a little curl
There you go.
right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid.
So that was that, yeah.
Meryl, go back to bed.
So after the boat death, so the Canadian monster man
Yeah.
has already been, dealing with his own
Alpha.
afflictions of not wanting to hurt kids. And she comes off the dock and sees him, and he basically is trying to say, hey, I don't want to hurt you, right? He's like, I'm done with this. However, she still fights back. He basically knocks the shit over. It should have killed her if it was real.
Yeah, he hit her in the sternum.
And he kind of gives her the whole, hey, look, I'm sorry. This has gone too far. I'm done. And so he just leaves her. He could have basically taken her back, and this would have all been over.
Yeah, she's nursing her dog that he punched in the face, and he kind of walks off into the...
And I don't think we touched on it. Part of the issue was he was struggling with how the Kevin James' character made him kill kids when they broke out of prison. And he basically talked to him and said, I need you to be my guy. You need to be there with me. And he didn't want to go as far as they've been doing it. That's why he let the wife and the kid try to escape earlier.
Right. Yeah.
His own kind of internal conflict.
And he had said he was done with killing kids.
So
What a line in the sand to draw.
yeah, so
what a guy.
He just leaves.
Which brings us to Nightfall, and it's at this point just Dominic, Kevin James's character, one eye, and Becky comes back and gets the keys out of Dad's pocket.
Yeah, kind of has a moment with Dad saying, love you too.
Sorry, I sucked for a little while. I love you.
No, she said, hey, Dad, it's Chipmunk.
That's right, because she kept saying, don't call me Chipmunk anymore. Puberty's fun. And then she sets the first trap.
Bless you.
The first trap for Dominic by setting off the car alarms.
Oh, yeah, because she still has the one dog, so sticks the dog in the car, sets the car alarm off. Vicious dog attacks, bites his arm.
I like that he goes out to check the van. The alarm goes off, and it's got one of those automatic door openers, so it opens, and he leans in, the dog grabs his arm, and he gets it closed, and then it opens again.
And then she hits the button again, and he pops back.
She could just sit there and keep doing that, and then, but he pulls out the gun like he's going to shoot the dog, and that's when she pulls out the next surprise, which is she is in the other car that the fiance brought, and kind of clips him with it.
Yeah,
before
knocks
she
him down.
runs it off the road into the ditch.
And crashes, yeah. So at that point, she has to run away.
Yeah, she has to hike it out of there.
But she goes back to the fire pit.
It also sets off the, what's the star?
Like OnStar.
OnStar, that's it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So it says, cops are coming. Or emergency people are coming.
So she really did call the cops.
So after that, we see her go back into this kind of open garage. All we see her do is grab a hammer and then something else she puts back down. Then she just grabs a gasoline tank.
Yeah, and
And
runs
then,
away.
then runs out. So once he gets back up from getting knocked down, you just start to hear her singing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm putting my gun away, let's talk. And she's just singing by the campfire, putting marshmallows on a poker.
But it's the
Nightmare siren calling.
It's the song that she sang to her mom,
Yep.
like as she was dying in the hospital, and she was putting marshmallows on the poker as he did before he
Yeah, when he was
Joe
kind of doing
McHale.
a talk down to her father.
He comes up and he tries to reason with her, like, "Oh, you're crazy. You could be with me. Why don't you
Yeah,
join
he's like,
me?"
I actually like you. This is
How
great.
how do you think that's gonna work at this point? She's killed off a bunch of your dudes, and you killed her dad. Yeah, let's go off together and be friends. So she pulls out the super soaker, which you're right, there was a super soaker, and lights him up pretty good.
Yeah, apparently she filled that with the gasoline, so they're standing across the fire pit, and she just lights him up.
And
But man, he can stop,
he
drop, and roll
he
like no
knew
other.
he knew how to stop, drop, and roll. He must have been part of that generation that they were taught.
Hey, the 90s, they taught us well.
Do they still teach that in school?
Yeah, but it was still gasoline. I don't think it would have gone out that quickly. Like,
All I know is that I have never had to stop, drop, and roll. And also, I thought as an adult or as I grew up that like quicksand was going to be a much bigger issue.
I always thought
than it
that
was.
at some point I would have to stop, drop, and roll.
I
mean, technically I
sure
did.
expected
I mean,
quicksand
like-
and needing to grab a snake's throat to pull my way out.
Like, I guess thank God we haven't. What? Ew. What?
You lure in a giraffe and you climb its neck. That's how you get out of quicksand.
You're usually in the forest, and there's a snake dangling from a tree, so you grab it, and that's how you get out.
That's how they did in the cartoons.
This is
These are
not
just facts.
This is not the Jungle Book.
These are just facts.
So he stopped, drops, and rolls, and he's pretty much got her, and he's choking her,
beating
and
the shit out of her again, but then finds the key.
He finds the key, and he kind of stands up, and he's about to execute her when Alpha comes back into the picture and tackles him.
Apex.
Apex. I called him
Apex
Alpha the whole
runs in,
time.
knocks him off,
Apex.
and it's like, hey, I've just been watching in the trees for 2 hours.
Yeah, I just
Because he really just disappeared.
and he's like, I should have helped earlier. It's like, well, no shit.
Yeah, he was very much against kids getting hurt at this point. So he's like, okay, just let her live. And
That's when Dominic shoots him.
that's when Dominic shoots him in the chest. He's like, all right, I've lost you. You're not part of this whole.
Yeah, shoots him in the chest, and Apex gets on him and starts beating the shit out of him. And that's when you hear she goes and gets on the four-wheeler.
Well, yeah, she runs away with the shooting because obviously he can't see with the one eye, so firing away as she runs off, and so he still goes to chase her.
I wonder if you, like, every time he blinks, is it a wink? If you have one eye?
Which, did they both end up running towards
Sorry.
her, or were they still fighting closer to the fire pit?
No, they kind of went away from it a little bit when the two of them are fighting. And
Then you see her get on the four-wheeler. Like
she
you
runs
said,
back
yeah.
to the little shed because they're right by the house.
Yeah, they're very close.
And when she pulls out of the shed, you see a huge lawnmower attachment on the back of it. You're like, oh.
It's not a little shed. It was
This
a
was
whole.
this was the garage of the
It
house.
was a whole ass garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But this is one of those,
it was a
like,
full-
4 foot wide
yeah,
pull
it was one of the
behind
big boys.
mowers. Like, it's a big boy.
And
So-
old Apex sees her coming and kind of jumps back, and she just
Runs
lets
him
it
over.
sit on Dominic for a while.
Runs it over, and blood just spraying everywhere. And,
His arm just kind of comes off.
yeah,
And
you
that
just
is
see
when I
body
wanted to throw
violently
up again.
shaking, and then when she rolls over, you have a half a skull left.
That was a fun one. I like that one too.
But this is probably the worst.
This is the darkest part for Becky.
And
Probably.
I'm not even talking about the running over with the lawnmower. It's because
Yeah, no, the next part.
because
Is
the
it goes,
Apex guy is
"Chit-chit."
down on his knees. He's he's like, I'm sorry, I should have done more. He's like, at least I saved you.
Yeah, maybe this will help for some of my previous.
He's still trying to
sins.
atone or something.
No, she went dark, Brandon, and she just goes.
She picked up the gun on the ground and shot him in
Just
the head.
executed him.
No,
point
no
blank.
time for talking. She just goes, nope.
And you knew as soon as she picked up the gun, you're like, okay, yeah,
Yep, and that's where
suffering
she
no
starts
fools here.
just screaming and finally letting all of this out.
Yeah, I got him. I done one. And during all that, the mom and the son have cut through their
Yeah,
binding because there's
Goes
no
to
one left in the
escape.
house, and they pretty much come out and join her. She's
as
sitting with the dog
as the cops.
by the garage as the
Finally show
cops
up.
come in, and we cut to, I don't know how much time had passed, but she's in a police station or
Well, so I think the way that they kind of framed it up was we see her at the beginning where she's getting questioned by a police officer and maybe like I don't know who the lady was. Maybe child services or something.
Yeah.
So technically, I think most of the film was a recantment of what happened. And then that's where it goes back to her being interviewed, and they ask her if there was anything else she left out, and she intentionally says there was a Canadian coin they were looking for.
Yeah, and she's wearing
the key.
But she also says she can't remember anything. Like, she remembers the guy in the orange, and that's it.
Yeah, she made it seem like she could not remember all of the killing, like she just blacked out. But there's a point after that to where she's staring at the camera, like the security camera in the room, kind of smirking, smiling as she's eating these gummy worms, to where okay, she remembers everything. She just said what she needed to say.
Like, doesn't the female detective or social worker or whatever say, like, that's what I'm worried about? Or, like, that's what I'm afraid of? Because she, like,
yeah, they weren't worried about her not remembering it. They were worried about the fact that she did all of that.
Yeah, like what effect it could have on her later on, essentially.
Like, oh my God, is this chick going to be a serial killer now?
And that's like the last line, too, which, oh yeah, they made a sequel this year.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Which is what brought us here in the first place.
Yeah, I had no idea. Which they definitely left it open to be opportunity for one, but I didn't know that there was going to be. So. Some more to come on that.
Only one left is Becky, and which dog survived?
Diego.
Diego, and then whatever this key is.
Yeah. There you go. That's Becky in a nutshell.
And it was good. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. The kills were holy shit.
Yeah, it was much more brutal than I expected, and she did a great job for how young an actress she was doing all that, and really, that's some brutal stuff to.
She did really good. Yeah, to your point, that she did really, really good. She was able to keep it. Her face. I mean, she was in shock, and she was just
showed emotions very well.
She did really well.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, she did very well.
She definitely didn't play with Barbies.
If she did, it would be
Barbie.
The other Barbie. The
Weird Barbie.
Weird Barbie. Yeah. That'd be her Barbie. We did Barbie earlier tonight. Don't judge us. What else? Anything else you guys got in that one? I mean, it's straight to the point. It was just fun. It's different to watch a child do the horrible, like we talked about Violent Night.
Better.
Have you guys seen that? David Harbour?
The Santa Claus, yeah.
We talked about the Home Alone and Die Hard references in that, but it's very different seeing a grown man doing the killing and then a young little blonde girl that can just get picked up and suplexed to the floor with one hand.
Oh, yes, that did happen.
Yeah.
No, she's been through some things.
She's been through some shit. Speaking of, there goes Will to take a shit. Tell her hello for us. Yeah. Anything else, Ray?
No.
Good to go?
I feel like at this point I should just say that I'm too drunk to taste this chicken. I feel like it's been on every podcast I've ever done.
I'm going to make sure that it's written down next time you're here so we can use it again. That's 2020's Becky. And if you like the genre, the horror, not horror, the violent revenge type thing, this is a quick one. It's like under an hour and a half, I think, right? It was short.
Yeah, it was super short.
But it was good. The acting was good. The kills were great. It was all practical effects. There was no CGI or anything that I saw noted in it. So go check it out. It's fun. Will, you got anything else to add to this?
That was a lot of pee.
Speaking of horses. All right. Well,
Bring
that's
a horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink.
all right.
Or you could just run over it with a boat.
Back into it with the motorboat son of a bitch.
That's it.
All right. We'll go to robgilchristbooks.com and check out Saturns for Suckers, Tides of Shadow. Listen to this podcast anywhere. Tell your friends, family, neighbors, strangers, on the bus, whatever it takes. No, fuck it. That's good. I didn't like that. Charlie?
Are we recording?